art, comedy, pop culture, and much more. You're listening to ACPN.
Hello, young Swimcast citizens. Space Ghost here, a.k.a. George Lowe, inviting you in for all of the creamy, enjoyable listening goodness. Let's ladle some up right now, shall we?
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Swimcast, brought to you by ACPN and Adult Swim Central. You can check us out on the web at either of those sites, adultswimcentral.com or acpnet.net, for all your audio-visual entertainment needs. Fun stuff there all around. Here is part 2 of 3, where we cover Comic-Con at home and SwimCon. We also dig deep into the debacle that was the Adult Swim Summer Showdown, so that's what this episode is about. Please enjoy for your listening entertainment stuff. Go. So are we ready for like the main event of the night?
Thunderdome?
Let's do it.
Thunderdome. We're gonna talk about.
I'm half expecting these guys to like, whip out like wrestling belts over their heads, like yes,
like the Bushwhacker Brothers. Like,
yeah, actual glasses in the dirty.
So Adult Swim, they did this thing they called the Summer Showdown,
and it was bullshit.
Good night, everybody.
I'm angry.
That's our thoughts.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I was gonna vamp a little bit. I was gonna warm myself up to it a little bit and say, okay, from an old timey grandpa Adult Swim fan perspective, I was like, okay, this is cool. You know, they're doing kind of a Final Four, March Madness kind of brackets with all the shows that they've done in previous years, and I'm like, well, you know, I appreciate that they're putting Saul the Mole Man and Fat Guy Stuck in Internet on here, but I know they'll never get past the first bracket because none of the millennial kids will know what Fat Guy and Saul the Mole Man are. And I think I didn't get into it until like the week of, like, the Final Four. I was fascinated by the Final Four, especially the fact that Tim and Eric, Awesome Show, got into the Final Four, and then
that was bullshit.
Deserved.
Well, let's break this down now. So we got.
I have the bracket too. If people need the bracket.
Well, it's on the screen now.
It's up on the Twitch.
It's on the screen. I don't have the Twitch up.
Hang on, I can help you out with that. Share your screen.
Should at least cover like the whatever not the Sweet 16, but the Horny 8 or whatever they call it.
I forget what they call it.
Some dumb thing that they call it.
Horny 8. Yep.
Honestly,
I need 7 friends for a group. Who's with me?
I think Horny 8's gonna stick.
Yep.
Is that the sequel to that Tarantino movie?
yes.
First they
No,
were hateful.
it's that Steven Sonnenberg heist movie.
Yeah. Oh god.
Horny 8's
I don't know if you all in the Discord can see this, but
Oh, I got it.
okay. So yeah, because I previewed it and it's being a dick now. I don't know how to get rid of it. Oh wait, I did get rid of it. Duh. So let's break this down. So by the people, well, we'll skip over Rick and Morty for the obvious reasons. But like, Venture Brothers was put up against. Is that Metalocalypse?
Yeah, that was a really close race that I actually covered on the Twitter for a while. It was really intense.
It was up against Harvey Birdman first.
Yeah.
Right.
That was easy.
Yeah.
And then it went against Metalocalypse.
Metalocalypse.
Against the Shivering Truth, which the Shivering Truth is amazing.
It's terrifying.
Very good. The Shivering
that gives me nightmares.
Oh yeah.
Like, it is not looking away from what I had never seen it until I came across it very recently, and I was shocked that a show with themes like that wasn't being lauded more.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Wonder Chosen, right? Like, you guys remember when Wonder Chosen was up and like hardly anybody knew what it was?
Yeah. Well, these are the same guys too. This is PFR.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
They're fucking geniuses.
So
I admittedly I haven't actually watched the show, but whenever I saw the previews, I was like, I have to watch it because it had like a disconcerting feel to it that reminded me of like the Tool videos from the 90s, right? Like
it makes
sober,
you horribly uncomfortable the whole time.
It's not something you want to watch while tripping.
No. It just gives. I have trouble watching it. I am man enough to admit I have difficulty watching. That show.
I'm man enough to be scared.
Yes, I'm man enough to admit that show terrifies me.
I mean, it's not any worse than like Eraserhead. Like, you know, if you've
that
done like
also terrifies me.
Stuff like, yeah, like this is
you can handle this,
right?
I am a baby. I'm a baby now.
Were there any matchups that you guys thought like because the Harvey Birdman Venture Brothers and then Venture Brothers into Metalocalypse, like which did you think were going to be the tightest matchups?
I mean, I'm just really analyzing this as we speak. I really didn't look at any of the shows except for the ones that the winners beat.
So I really heavily followed the Metalocalypse Venture Brothers battle because there's a lot of overlap of fans.
Yeah.
And so people were having to make really tough choices. And some people were like, okay, but Venture Brothers is still on the air. Metalocalypse, its run has ended. And yeah, it was good. Like, I know people were like trying to justify it like that. And other people were like, but the music, you got all the music that Death Clock put it out. And then,
well, that's the thing. The show is over, but the group is still on tour. Like,
exactly. Brendan Small still goes out and does Death Clock stuff.
I was watching videos on YouTube about like their songwriting and shit. Like that's a legitimate thing, which is crazy to have come out of a cartoon. Like,
yeah, it's insane.
I wonder if it's one of those like they did it for tax purposes. So, like, when I listen to the commentary on Venture Brothers, one thing I'll notice is they'll make, like, an offhanded statement, and then that thing kind of happens in a weird way. And I'm not even talking about, like, continuity stuff. Like, they're talking about moving Ventures to New York and or going on vacation in Greece. And then, like, the next episode or the next season, you get, like, Spanakopita. And then, like, a season down the line, like, you move them.
Spanakopita! Come on, you can't
Did you
not
write that in for like a, you know, oh, I took a Greek vacation. I did an episode on Greece. Clearly, this is research.
Right.
Like,
no, Jackson, I think, openly said that.
So Brendan Small's like, how do I like fund the most badass metal band and get all my equipment sponsored? Well, I make fucking cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also sidetrack. There's a good story on some podcast. Adam Reed tells about how he got Cartoon Network to pay for his trip to Europe by saying he was going to film like segments for this cartoon they used to do. He and God, I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, used to do it's like Howdy Doody or time or something like that. I forget.
Oh, I do vaguely remember that.
Yeah, but they got they got Cartoon Network to pay for a European vacation and then didn't film anything while in Europe.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, yeah.
Although I heard a similar story for Aqua Teen. I think they flew out to Vegas to record Dana for Shake because they couldn't do it over the phone.
There's got to be some finagling going on there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, there's plenty of finagling going on. And let's be honest, like my Greek vacation research I did landed me a third baby.
Nice. What I wanted to say about Metalocalypse is it's a good show, but I think he squandered whatever money they gave him to make that rock opera. He should have just made a last season. I don't know.
Oh God,
those are my 2 cents.
Which bracket did you think was easiest?
I mean, okay, let's look at this.
All the brackets that Rick and Morty were in, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean,
we all know who's going to win the Showdown.
I know when it started, people were petitioning to try and get Perfect Hair to win out, and I guess it didn't work.
That was also partially because Matt Harrigan was hosting it. It's like you don't have the creator host.
I mean, that's kind of difficult though, because he's created or produced a bunch of these shows. I mean, where is?
I know, but Perfect Hair, it's definitely
12. He's worked on 12 Ounce Mouse. He's worked on Tim and Eric and Tom Goes to the Mayor.
What was that?
I'm surprised Beef House got beyond the first bracket.
What was the other show he did? Assy. There it is.
Assy.
Oh, they put Assy up against Brack?
Yeah, that was some of these shows.
This is bullshit. I'm at least a number 4 seed.
I thought the Frisky Dingo Black Dynamite matchup was really good.
Oh,
that was intense. I'm very pro.
Aqua Teen Boondocks.
Aqua Teen and Boondocks. That's a hard call.
That's a tough call. That's my prime Adult Swim years right there. Is that peak?
Yeah.
Oof.
See, and this is the other thing I was thinking of. Why didn't they separate it into divisions? You could have the classic swim stuff, and then the live action stuff, and the new stuff, and then I don't know, the Tim and Eric.
They weren't. A lot of these were not even Drinky Crow against Aqua Teen.
No chance.
Because if you start doing divisions, then it's like college fantasy football. We've got the NAACP.
We're analyzing it like it is.
We're something to do, Beast. Come on, don't take this from us.
We're basically analyzing this like it is college basketball, and
we're nerds. Get over it.
Oh man, you gotta keep your kids up.
Well, it's not like there's injured lists or anything. It's production hiccups. How did COVID affect this show?
Oh no!
Wait.
Yeah, this is the main difference. It's a popularity contest.
Against home movies seems like an odd mashup too.
So this is always something that's interesting to me, especially in the line of work that I do during the day and many evenings, where looking at the value of something versus how popular it is and whether or not those are inherently separate things. Take pop music, for instance, right? A lot of people love to rail against pop music. And in my estimate, it is harder to write a song that my mom, my son, and I like than it is to write a song that fits a very narrow genre band or brand, right? So if you're looking at the technicality of something, being able to create something that is popular is actually really hard. And it's almost got to be like lightning in a bottle in order for it to stick. And when we're looking at brackets like this, in terms of overall popularity, it shows that the fact that Aqua Teen Hunger Force made it all the way to the end speaks to that lightning in a bottle that it managed to capture, that it managed to go head to head and almost win against the single biggest cartoon property on the planet for the past several years.
And I mean, there seems to be a resurgence of Aqua Teen, and I'm alluding to something we'll hopefully talk about later. But in recent, I mean, as the resident expert of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, there is
a little self-promotion.
Yeah. There. I don't know. There's like a thing where like Aqua Teen is something that like I guess if you, I think it's too late or it's not the rum anymore. I think it's just too. I think it's lack of sleep. If you are,
you can't just decide I'm drunk. That decision's between me and God.
I'm drunk. You what now?
Something about Nathan Scott Phillips.
No. I feel like if you ask someone to sum up one show on a, if you walked up to someone on the street and said,
Adult Swim?
What is Adult Swim? Aqua Teen, Venture, they have their own thing, and it's like Aqua Teen was the thing for like, they were the Rick and Morty and the Robot Chicken for like the first 5-10 years.
I would say the first decade and a half.
So yeah, I'm
until
not
Rick and Morty.
So I'm not surprised at how far they got. Eric Andre, I don't know.
It actually tells me that the people who were voting weren't just the little kids, because look at how far home movies got.
Right.
Yeah. Like let's be real honest with this. The
and
people
also
who are
home
voting
movies just got rebroadcast on Adult Swim.
Right.
Too.
They seem to be pairing it up with Bob's, I think, since they've been laying into Bob's more since they lost the rights to Family Guy?
Well,
are they? No, not Family. They're still showing Family Guy.
Bob's is leaving. Family Guy's leaving, and
Cleveland was the one. Cleveland and King of the Hill, I think. And then since then, they've been leaning heavily more on Bob's. So I feel like
a lot of new home movie fans are coming in from Metalocalypse. They're like, "Oh, Brendan Small's other show."
Oh,
I've seen that too. Like, and I think my friend who's also watching it.
John Benjamin fans.
I love that guy. I've talked to him a couple of times.
I hear he's got a van.
I mean, Coach McGurk is one of his like most like iconic characters, and it's a shame most people will not know him from that. They're like, it's either Bob's or Arby's commercials, maybe an Archer
for sandwiches.
It's for sandwiches. I don't know him as I normally like. I think of Coach McGurk, but I normally think of Jason from home movies because that's also him.
Yeah, he took over for the original guy, I think.
Yeah.
So he's also Jason, and I think like Walter and/or Perry. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
What do you think was the most unfair bracketing?
Oh God.
Because just looking at the bracket right now, they put Rick and Morty up against Perfect Hair Forever there at the beginning, and Perfect Hair Forever did not have nearly the fan base that Rick and Morty's got. Was that like a
and they still got like 26% of the vote, I think, something like that.
No, I don't understand how Beef House got past stage 1.
Which one now is Beef House? Because there's 2 Tim Heidecker pictures, and I'm like,
so it's the one with him with the looking like a gross Jersey Shore type character.
The one on the bottom.
Yeah.
So how in the blue hell does Beef House beat out NTSF? I mean, maybe I'm biased.
It's only got one season. It only has one season out. That and 3 Busy Debras, I think.
I think Beef House has the
stronger of the 2.
Beef House has the advantage of being a newer show
and also being Tim and Eric.
Yeah, and I mean I can understand. I'm guessing this is Frankenhole, the one next to Fat Guy.
Yeah, that's
I get that one.
I like that Lucy got past the first bracket.
What is that?
C-Lab.
Where is it? I'll tell you what it is.
It's Lucy
on the left.
It's all the way on the bottom.
It's one battling Lucy.
Yeah. I can't make out.
I think that's Gendy Terracosta.
Oh, is that Primal?
That is Minority Team. Minority Team.
Well, yeah, it's gonna. If you put the socially insensitive show up against anything, it's
their Northland's not standing by their minority decision at all, and rightfully so.
What the
C-Lab made it
What did Squidbillies go up against? What is that? Looks like Guy Fieri.
Is that over? That's over on the right.
Oh, that's
the
That's Guy Fieri.
Squidbillies went against mostly for millennials.
That's yeah.
Oh yeah, the show
Hot
I'd
Package?
never heard of.
Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell went against Eagleheart. Mike
Which-
Tyson went against the Busy Debras, Three Busy Debras. Black Jesus went against Tim and Eric Awesome Show. C-Lab
I think
2021
that's
went
a
against...
little bit of a disappointment. Like, I think Black Jesus is way better than Tim Eric Awesome Show.
I was shocked Tim and Eric made it.
I wish there wasn't as much Tim and Eric. I feel like there's oversaturation of
You
Tim.
get one show, Tim and Eric, to represent you.
Yeah,
You
I
get,
feel like
you get
this
multiple.
has just been like Tim and Eric gets one show. That's it.
I feel like
we're on 3/4 of the bracket.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tim
they're most
gets
of
a
the back
show.
bracket.
Eric gets a show.
I think they should have just had Tom Goes to the Mayor, and that was the only show they ever had. But that's a different story.
Or could they have just lumped them into one thing?
All Tim and Eric,
and then on the off chance that they win,
break it up and be like, "Oh, an
They
episode
could
of
have
Beat
had their own
Pals."
separate Tim and Eric bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the call.
the Tim and Eric Summer Showdown.
Because like there's a lot of overlap.
Whoever loses, Matt Harrigan wins.
Now, we're kind of here at the part where we really need to talk about the final four.
Exactly.
And-
That's why I brought the screen back up.
That's rigged.
So, okay.
So let's go ahead and kind of take a quick look here as to whether or not you guys thought that the ones that made it up there were the best choices, and if you thought the matchups were decided correctly.
I think the execution was poor. I think they shouldn't have done it just on Instagram stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that I've taken away from this, is that it was not a good format choice to get a proper vote.
Yeah, it's and I said this before we started. It's like, number one, half these shows were on before Instagram was even invented. So who's going to know enough to go vote for stuff like that?
Only teens who like are deep diving into Adult Swim.
Right.
Everybody go to MySpace and vote for your favorite.
Yeah, everyone go to MySpace.
Go to the Live Journal.
Yeah, right.
Knock off your Friendster.
We have a Blogster.
No, they should have, if they were really super serious about this, then they should have just put it on swim.com.
Yeah.
Well, they could have, if like we were talking about doing things on multiple platforms in terms of the streaming with the con
They
stuff.
could have done that.
They could have done multiple platforms
I mean-
because Instagram is not the only platform that has a poll option. You could have done this on Twitter also. You could have done this on Facebook also.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to stick to social media, you could have done it on there.
Do it on SurveyMonkey. Who
Yeah, even that.
Who
I don't
cares? Everyone uses SurveyMonkey.
But
Universities use SurveyMonkey.
I used it once. I didn't get it, but that's me. I'm old grandpa, man. But and again, saying this earlier, it's like, okay, you're putting this vote out on Instagram. No one knew how to get to it. The Aqua Teen shitposting group that a lot of us are on was like, oh, how do you click on this? How do you click on? How do you get there? Nick Gibbons from As Seen on Adult Swim posted, I think, the last possible day that you could vote a link. And Dana Snyder was posting, come on, guys, let's get this back up to, past. Because when it started, when they first had the showdown earlier in the week, it was like, I think it was like Aqua Teen was up to 60 and Rick and Morty was 40. And then I think a day later they totally flipped. And by then it was too late to start voting. Because people were still saying, oh, where's the link? Where is it? And I was looking back and I'm like, it's gone.
Yeah, because that's the problem with Instagram poll with the stories. The format is stories only last for about 24 hours unless you save them. And I don't think they were saving them into like highlights and then making the polls last longer. It's a format.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's what we got. We got, Instagram 2-day voting, and I guess most of the millennial people knew how to do that, and we got what I just posted on the screen. It was actually pretty close.
It got nice. It got really close.
So we wound up with Aqua Teen Hunger Force versus Tim and Eric Show versus Robot Chicken versus Rick and Morty. And we ended up with Tim and Eric versus Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is as throwback Adult Swim as you can get.
Yeah.
And then we wound up with Robot Chicken versus Rick and Morty. 3 of the 4 that were on here are classic Adult Swim properties. There's only one newcomer. And when we're talking, I heard a couple of times people say, oh, this was rigged, this was rigged. I mean, I'm looking at this. 3/4 of that final 4 are not new shows.
See,
they're out of...
Okay, again, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here. First off, Adult Swim Karen was a publicity plant.
Oh my god!
Are we going there now?
We can't do this without mentioning Adult Swim Karen.
Right, fair enough. And I mean, if you look at the final 4, and then the essentially like the ultimate supremacy there, like these are really the 4 that kind of the 4 shows that are the most recognizable brand-wise in terms of like Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Like this is Adult Swim branding pillars right here. Like we were making jokes about how many shows Tim and Eric have. Bam, there they are. They're a pillar. We can't ignore Rick and Morty because it's fucking everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Robot Chicken, again, they're kind of like sliding up the echelon, moving into that Simpsons, Family Guy territory. And then there's Aqua Teen, and Aqua Teen is, like you said, Aqua Teen was Adult Swim for at least like 5 years. So don't tell me that this isn't rigged. I see the dots, man. I see the 5G bat giving me the code.
I'm just saying it's rigged for the sheer purpose of it was put on Instagram.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm saying it's not a balanced vote. And I mean, Rick and Morty may be the best show, but
I'm just gonna throw this out there. Like Rick and Morty right now is. Like, I'm not saying this as a Rick and Morty podcaster. I'm saying this like Rick and Morty is what I would say the newcomers to Adult Swim. If they're getting brought to Adult Swim, that's what's bringing them to Adult Swim. I have coworkers in their 50s and 60s who are like, "Hey, Brandon, did you catch that new Rick and Morty?" Right?
Hey, you're not check it out. I'm Pickle Rick, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah. He turns himself into a pickle.
And so like as far as that like popularity contest, it's going to get up there, right? And like talking to like Instagram and other platforms for polling, just from what I've seen in the last handful of years, Adult Swim has not been. They haven't been the pinnacle of social media savvy other than.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about that, as I've mentioned before.
I apologize.
Podcast. They decide to make a podcast after 12 years of me
doing
one.
Yeah. Well,
kidding.
We're right there with you. Like we completely agree.
I in full seriousness. I'm glad they started a podcast, and I've given much love to Matt Harrigan over that.
Well, I'll even talk to like the Reddit, the Rick and Morty subreddit. However many people are in the subreddit for that, like, Adult Swim doesn't utilize that to its full potential, and they could, right? So we're not going to get into the
I could go.
Who knew somebody who could put them in touch with someone who knew. Oh, I see a guy in a Wayland Utani Corporation shirt who might know a few things.
Do you know any werewolves?
Werewolf. I know some swearwolves.
Swearwolves, not werewolves.
I'm about to be the least person on this podcast because I'm going to ask the really hard, impossible question: how in the world did Aqua Teen Hunger Force get that high?
Yeah, and let's go back to who they. Yeah.
I don't know. because
I mean, Drinky Crow, I could see them beating. Black Dynamite, I guess.
I see that.
I can't see them beating Boondocks.
Boondocks is so
Boondocks
popular.
is the harder one.
I'll be the one who I'll take the bullet. I'll be the one who says it. It's
fixed.
No.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you.
It's
like,
rigged. No. It's not. It's peak. It's
George
Soros. Hashtag fake bracket.
Stoner. Like
deep state.
I think of like when they had the bomb scare, like that sort of stuff. What CNN was saying was, "Oh, it's a show for stoners." That's what it is.
And
That's why
I've argued this, and I was going to mention this earlier because I forget if it was Kim Manning. You know, I much love to Kim Manning, much love to everyone at Swim, but I think she described it as a stoner show. I think I got to go back to this thing. Wait, hang on. Okay, so glossing over that.
Wow. Just plugging.
I have never ever partaken in marijuana. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who haven't. It's not really... I wouldn't classify it as a quote-unquote stoner show. I mean,
but
people go to bed... People go to bed...
People do watch.
Yes.
Wow.
Are you saying it's like the Property Brothers of Adult Swim? It is the most mindless entertainment you can put on to go to sleep, and that's why it's so popular?
No, this Twitch
commentary when you're going to sleep. That's what you do, like a sane person.
People have admitted to me that they go to sleep from the Twitch stream that airs normally, the 24-hour one plugged to ACP Network. But they've admitted to me that they go to sleep to whatever random crap is being aired. And there is really random crap.
Well, okay, so maybe that's a big part of the issue, and I think we've all kind of done a good job acknowledging it, that, like, you know, we're becoming the elder echelon of Adult Swim fans. So back in the day, Adult Swim was definitely more of a cult thing. Like, it's almost like you had to have a secret high sign to even find people who watched it. And then, like, you know, it just got more popular and popular until, like, you know, Rick and Morty just blew out there. And now it's like, well, these guys don't have a great social media presence. They're not doing this right. I mean, at the end of the day, they just weren't built for it because they were the undercurrent. And that's, I think, how they kind of see themselves still.
So Adult Swim is electronic dance music in the U.S., and Rick and Morty is Tiesto or Skrillex.
I mean, if you want to offend the listeners, sure, let's go.
I think I just got an idea for our new Skrillex podcast, though. So.
Oh boy.
No.
See, I would have gone with, like, you know, a more of like a Avicii. No, that's not better. Never mind.
Again, and I don't think that it's necessarily fair to be hating on any of these properties that managed to hit that moment to catch that zeitgeist. And again, you know, like Rick and Morty in particular is awesome, right? Robot Chicken is amazing. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I can't use those adjectives.
Wow. I mean, everyone's got, I mean, going back to what I said. Going back to what I said about 12 Ounce Mouse, it's an acquired taste. It's just like Tim and Eric. It's like you know, the more underground cult shows like Super Jail or Solve the Mole Man.
Give me more Super Jail.
Yeah, I would love.
Bring it back.
They're hinting at more Ballmasters, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I really love Ballmasters. Okay.
It really died in this bracket, though. Holy shit!
Yeah, I know, it died.
Who beat it?
I don't even know what that is.
Is that
Xavier? That's Xavier.
That is
Xavier had just also had the commencement speech, too, like a week before the bracket.
Hey guys, I have a real quick question. You guys are the elder statesmen of Adult Swim, I would say, especially in this stream. I mean, I've watched those.
Harumph.
But
I didn't get a
were there
harumph from
any?
that guy.
Were there any notable omissions from the bracket entirely that you would have liked to have seen on there?
I don't see. Oh,
Cowboy Bebop.
Oh,
I don't know that they. I don't know that they included anime on this.
Where's all the anime?
I think it's just originals.
The Tsunami lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Tsunami
Harvey
was
Birdman. Was Harvey Birdman on there?
Oh,
Yeah, Harvey's on
I mean,
there.
we got all of the originals: Aqua Teen, Space Ghost, Brack.
They have Minority,
Minority.
but not Titan Maximal.
Yeah, Titan wasn't on there. Yeah,
That's like the only
Was it?
one I could think of. I mean, Stroker and Hoop got in. Assy McGee
Yeah,
got
even
in.
Stroker and Hooper.
Located, Laser Wolf, Hot Streets, Moral Oral, Time Goes to the Mayor, Loiter Squad. Wow, I haven't thought about that.
Is Primal on
Joe
there?
isn't on there.
Yeah, Primal's the. I think is Primal
no.
the one we said got beat by Lucy.
I think that's Primal. Don't
no.
hold
Also,
me to
Neon
that.
Neon Joe. I think Neon Joe's on there. I think it's on towards the top.
Neon Joe's on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Neon Joe got beat by Moral Oral.
Oh, I see him. Yep.
Primal's
Properly.
amazing, but it hasn't been on long enough for I think people to really.
Same
grasp
as
on.
Beat House and Three Busy Deborah's.
So, you know what
I
isn't
really
on
like
there?
Three Busy Deborah's. Okay.
Family Guy is on there.
Yeah, but that's not an
Family Guy.
original.
Where the
That's
fuck
not
is
original.
Jimmy Cook?
Like of all of the properties, right? Because I know they're about to lose Family Guy from here too. And the
Are
thing
they?
about that, there would be no fan. Yeah, it was one of the things that they just announced. Of all the properties that are on here, there is one that owes its success more. Just Family Guy owes everything in the world to Adult Swim, because
It
you guys
reruns.
remember
Sure.
Yeah.
it's
wouldn't
Adult
be-
Swim that launched the DVD sales, and it was the DVD sales that pushed it over the edge and brought it back.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
would still be dead.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
fit on this bracket though, because this bracket is
No.
specifically the original stuff.
Yeah. I was
mean,
gonna-
like one of the more like low key shows that I'm not sure anybody else remembers is Look Around You.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But that
yeah,
wasn't
but
an-
again,
but also
not
not
an
an
original. I was about to say Mission Hill, but that wasn't original either.
Yeah.
That wasn't?
Yeah.
The
No,
Oblong.
No, that
that
was
Mission
WB.
Hill and
The
Oblong, Oblong
Oblong
was
was
amazing.
They took a lot
WB.
of stuff from UPN and
Hmm.
WB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They took a lot of the early 2000 canceled stuff, except Dilbert, for obvious reasons.
Oh man,
show.
the Gilbert Bill, like was it the Scott Adams Bill Sankiewicz beef on Twitter was amazing. Like Bill Sankiewicz totally like challenged him to a doodle off or whatever, and that Scott Adams just like, I don't live here anymore. Thanks, bye.
The one I just thought of. too,
Children's
greatest event
Hospital
in
was on
television
there.
history.
What? Oh,
yeah.
that omitted because it started off as a WB web show. So I'm
What?
wondering if that's why.
Probably.
Because Children's Hospital was good.
Wait, what
no, I
about
didn't
news?
see that.
Shit.
What about newsreaders?
Oh no, that wasn't on there either. Frankenhole wasn't on there.
No, Frankenhole's
Frankenhole
on there.
was-
We said fat guy. It beat fat guy.
$1 Million Extreme World Peace.
Oh, they're never going to put that on there though.
For the record, fuck $1 Million Extreme World.
Yeah, 100%.
Whoa.
Fuck MDE.
Whoa.
Your Hole wasn't on there, was it?
No.
Because I
somebody
think
said
that
in the
was
chat, too.
that was a short thing.
That was during infomercial
What is-
time, right?
What is the one? Is that not totally for teens? What is the one with under?
For millennials. For millennials.
Mostly for millennials. Is on
I
there.
thought that's what we said the other one was. What was?
Well, what about Hot Package?
Maybe one of those
That's
is
on
Hot
there.
Package.
Yeah, one of those has
That's
Hot
what,
Package.
on
that's
there.
what I was thinking of. And someone just
Furikuri was
someone just pointed out Joe Pera beat Delocated. I don't even see Delocated or Joe Pera.
Over on the left.
Oh yeah.
Joe Pera beat Delocated, rightfully so. He is a treasure.
Was he the guy that got his start on Cracked.com?
I don't know.
Maybe
And then-
I don't know. He's the one who does the really calm.
Oh,
What?
the heart
Talking.
she hollered.
Yeah,
That-
Heart She Holler.
Archie's on here.
It
It,
made one.
it, beat, it actually beat China, Illinois, which I'm surprised.
No, I think that's
Oh,
the
wow.
other one.
Oh,
That's yeah. That's
Plop-
Brad Neal's Hot Dog and
That's
Scorpio.
off the air that beat China, Illinois.
Huh.
Off the air beat China.
Yeah, off the air beat
Yeah.
China.
But the Heart She Hollers
was-
is on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Venture versus
Uh,
Tender Touches.
I don't
Was
know.
That-
I'm
Scolio wasn't on the was it Narhol and Scolio Peplio? Was that on there?
Yeah, it is.
one
We
at
just
the
said
top
it
of the
was.
Yeah.
So I
The
think
heart she hollers Argnalan Sclopio PPO.
PPO.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Scorpio.
So I feel like we should summarize this since we're coming into the third hour of the show.
That's a wrap.
This is where we live. This is our comfort.
I'm not. I will say I'm not upset that Aqua Teen got beat by Rick and Morty. I mean, someone
You're
got.
just disappointed.
I'm just
I would say
disappointed
that.
with the way, you know, if Robot Chicken had got it, I probably would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you know,
Right.
as
As
you know,
you
a Rick
know.
and Morty
Expert. Yes.
I'll
I'll give
just
as the Aqua Teen expert, I will give you the title of Rick and Morty expert.
Well, no, I'm going out here to say, honestly, I think Aqua Teen should have won. Just in the sense of like iconicness, right?
Yeah.
Like Aqua Teen is Adult Swim. That is what you think of. Even if when Rick and Morty aside, if you see Aqua Teen, anything related to it, you're like, yeah, Adult Swim.
Although,
And it has a longevity.
It does, but on the flip side, if you had asked me, and someone has asked me this before, if you could bring back one show from Adult Swim, what would it be? And I totally
Frisky Dingo.
Yes, I would bring that back because I need to know what happens with Sandra Cruz, and
We all
him
need
go.
to know
Yeah,
what happens with Sandra
Barnaby
Cruz.
Jones.
Barnaby Jones. People, let me tell you about my new best friend,
Your best friend.
Barnaby Jones. Nap.
We could never.
We can never go back to Arizona.
Arizona.
Oh, I love Frisky
Don't you,
Dingo.
Simon? Don't you do it?
And don't you do that because that's our last bowl. Who's for
We could
Den-
never go back to Arizona.
Who's for Denny's? Grand Slam.
So let's take this back just a little bit and ask what should have won. If we could just get everybody to say what they thought should have won.
Just to finish my point before it gets lost, I was going to say Space Ghost because that's the granddaddy. But I knew it wouldn't win.
Yeah, I knew it wouldn't.
It was going to be a long shot. I mean, the fact that it got so far. I mean, okay, Tom, maybe Moral Oral, but definitely wasn't going to get past Rick and Morty.
This is gonna be a question. I didn't ask it earlier, but I'll ask it now, just in general. Like if Space Ghost was in a different bracket entirely, a different division, do you think it would have gone further instead of going up straight against Rick and Morty? Basically, fairly quickly.
Absolutely.
I
Definitely.
think that's why Tim and Eric Awesome Show got as far as it did.
Yeah.
Although
Because of its competition, but it beat Squidbillies, which surprised me.
Yeah, and Your Pretty Face, which I mean that's an Emmy-nominated show for Adult Swim. So,
And I like that C-Lab got really far too.
Right.
Yeah.
C-Lab did. C-Lab earned it.
I think they could have done
C-Lab
better.
did its work, man.
C-Lab went up against Lucy, the Daughter of a Devil, which probably none of the newer fans
And
remember.
Decker.
And and Decker, but it started with King Star King, which that was web only.
Yeah.
So thank you for answering that question. Yeah, because as much as I love Rick and Morty, I love a lot of these shows. Space Ghost Coast to Coast is always the one I'm like, growing down Highway 40 in my big old pickup truck.
We moisten your dreams with man urine.
Doc Savage. That's Hey, you asked the question originally. Like, who do you think should have won?
If I'm being honest, I think the correct show won. I think that the reason Rick and Morty
burn the witch
was, I
Burn
think
the damn woods,
right? A duck. So the reason I think that Rick and Morty was the correct choice for this was that if there is any property that is leading Adult Swim into the near term, it is very clearly Rick and Morty. And as much as I love Space Ghost, C-Lab 2021, and I have such a love for the Venture Brothers is a better show than Rick and Morty is, in my opinion. Rick and Morty, however, is crushing it in a way that makes it impossible to ignore and silly to sideline.
I feel like I either said this or I was thinking it, where I'm like, if this was 5 to 8 years ago, it would have gone to Robot Chicken.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
And if it
That's
was,
fair.
15, 20 years ago, it would have gone to Aqua Teen.
Yeah.
Or Space Ghost.
Do you think? I was going to say, do you think Aqua Teen would beat Space Ghost?
There is definitely.
I think it depends on where they have their vote. I mean, if they had it in a hot topic, then it would go to Aqua Teen.
Okay. I didn't want to say it, but how much do you think the potential destruction of Adult Swim, just the slowly, gradually, when it gets kind of chipped away, how much can we attribute that to Hot Topic and just the overpopularization of all of the different things? Because back in the day, if I saw Aqua Teen Hunger Force shirt, I'm like, that person dug around for it. But if I see somebody wearing a Rick and Morty shirt, I'm like, you just went to a Hot Topic. Like, it just...
But that's now. But that's now.
You can buy one at Walmart.
It was also 25 years ago. Do you guys remember when South Park hit? I mean, I don't know. Those of us who are old enough to remember, and everybody had those white T-shirts with the characters on them. They were the only T-shirts you could buy for them. But I'm not going to blame Hot Topic. And again, this is the danger of this type of thing, which is someone likes something, but you feel like they don't like it enough. Like that's a small tent. And we should be all in on the big tent, because the more people come to this, the more amazing shows we get, and the more opportunities these independent creators will have to craft their masterpiece.
You're saying we should go to a tent sponsored by Hot Topic?
Actually, I prefer a
tent. Come to the conspiracy cork board. It's all been rigged, man.
Yeah, and besides, it's not just Hot Topic; it's also Spencer's.
Yes.
Let's not shoot down.
Let's not place all the blame on Hot Topic.
In the early 2000s.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, it was Aqua Teen and C-Lab and all them. I remember I'd go to Spencer's and see, Aqua Teen, Carl's underwear. I think they had at one point.
I mean, if Hot Topic is really beating the Rick and Morty drum, then Spencer's is going fucking Neil Peart on that show.
Oh no! You could buy anything in Pickle Rick right now.
I have a Christmas tree ornament. I have a Christmas tree ornament.
I mean, you'll find Rick and Morty shit anywhere.
Go to the
reason I like Pickle Rick is that whole.
I can go and get a Funko Pop at Walmart. I could go and get a Funko Pop of Morty at Walmart, and it's a good one.
We said that on the first. I think when the last season of Rick and Morty started, the season 4, we were talking about it on Swimcast, where I'm like, yeah, they just have every character that showed up in that first episode was a pop figure. I
hate to interrupt. I'm just going to go to the supermarket real fast and pick up a can of Pringles with Pickle Rick on it.
Oh, don't worry. I already have I have 5. Do you want one of mine?
You know what? I don't see Pringles is not going to sponsor us. So.
Get that Pickle Rick boiling soda.
Hey Morty, I'm turning myself into a root beer.
Pickle juice.
I'm root beer Rick.
You say this, but I can imagine that commercial.
Oh yeah.
After that Pringles commercial, I can imagine that commercial.
I mean, you stack flavors, make new ones.
Yeah. Hey man, anything is possible if you throw enough money at it.
It was really It was really weird to sit in a Dave and Buster's and watch the Super Bowl and then see Rick and Morty on every screen in a Dave and Buster's.
I said it then, and I'll say it now. They're getting that big AT&T money.
Ugh.
Well, and again, name any other type of cartoon property that has inspired something as absurd as the Szechuan sauce, debacle.
Up at
I witnessed that in person in a line at a McDonald's. I witnessed a man lose his sanity dressed up in a blue, full body suit with a face drawn on it as Mr. Meeseeks and just completely lose touch with reality.
I thought you were going to say
witnessed that before.
I thought you were going to say you saw that one guy on the video jumping on the counter.
No, what you didn't
No,
see was
no, I saw something worse in person. It was a guy.
You're blaming the Meeseeks. You're not blaming the person who sent the Meeseeks to get the damn
Yeah.
sauce.
It's not his fault. He was summoned to do this.
I've been alive for hours, old man.
It was a regular brand Meeseeks, not the shitty Kirkland
it was
brand.
the Kirkland brand.
Kirkland
Mr. Meeseeks, I need some
What do you want?
sauce.
Also, I want to point out what Reed Cooper is putting in the chat. There's apparently a Pickle Rick dildo, and it's called the Dickle Rick.
I actually knew about
Too
this,
easy.
and
There's
I
no
hate-
craft there.
And I hate the fact that it exists. It's up there with the Shrek one. I
It's back
hate
there
that
on the
both of those
shelf.
exist.
Ugh.
There is no other cartoon property that simultaneously inspires chips, fast food frenzies, and dildos. This is a
Shrek.
special.
Hey,
Shrek.
to your point,
Right.
we're not just talking about McDonald's. We're not just talking about chips. We're not talking you can go literally anywhere. Best Buy last year, I saw some Skull Candy Rick and Morty earbuds. It just everywhere. And you're right. I think there's just a huge capitalist market to capitalize on Rick and Morty merchandise. And
It's almost oversaturation.
And on the flip side,
the big question
Go ahead.
here is: does Susan Sarandon actually own a Dickle Rick?
I hate this. I hate that.
I sincerely hope
gift.
there's a
Okay,
there's
it was a gift.
there's a
But
Susan
what-
Sarandon
what-
sex doll.
trying to steer
I
this
would
back into a sane conversation, I was going to say on the flip side, you got Venture
Yeah.
Brothers who have, I think they...
We have the Mego dolls and Shirt Club.
Well, the Shirt Club is epic. I'm just saying,
Shirt
I'm
Club is
pretty
really
sure
good. Doc
they-
and Jackson put love into Shirt Club.
It's
And
my whole
they've-
goddamn wardrobe.
they've been adamant about they won't, put their name on everything that Rick and Morty does.
Which is good for them.
Yes.
But honestly, I would kill for could we just get, I don't know, could we get a vinyl pressing of Jacket? Could you give us that?
That would
Give
be
us
that
that.
would be epic.
Could you
That
give
would
us
be-
Jacket on vinyl?
Or a solid 15-minute just snippet from the Rusty musical?
Yes.
Well, Doc's already come out and said that that's what we heard is what's written of that. And there's not going to be any more.
Well, I mean, Hamilton blew up.
Oh no!
Are
Oh,
you
now
comparing Rusty to Hamilton?
now you're speaking Travis's language.
Don't get me started.
Oh,
You know what I would compare? Obviously, the Bart Simpson behind you makes this connection really easy. The last time I remember a cartoon hitting in quite the same way, it was Bartmania, right? Because you had the music video, you had
Yep.
the Simpsons sing the blues, they were all over commercials. This has absolutely happened before. And
Yeah.
the Simpsons, if you had to list the single most important cartoon property of the 80s and the 90s, it would have to be the Simpsons. They were an era-defining concept that was so good. The Family Guy has ripped off of them. Almost every other family cartoon, stole big chunks of what they were doing right because it spoke so clearly to the zeitgeist.
I think it's interesting because you earlier mentioned that your kids are getting into The Simpsons. My 8-year-old's getting into The Simpsons because on Disney Plus they have the original aspect ratio. So we're going through from season 1 to on, and we're in season 6 now, right? And so now he's getting into it. In that's that's how it is with Rick and Morty now. Like my son is now like, oh look, Bart, and getting all these references, and now seeing Rick and Morty, and I'm a bad parent. I'm sorry, I let him watch that shit.
Damn it, Karen!
My kid loves Super Jail.
But seeing that stuff and be like, this is what's popular, and I can completely agree with your point about the Simpsons, and obviously I love Rick and Morty. I keep saying that as if it's like a caveat, like, no, I should be ashamed of this. I'm not ashamed of it. Like, Rick and Morty is awesome, and it's the people who create it are extremely talented, and the people who work on it are overworked and make incredible stuff. So they deserve that recognition, that the people who create the show and work on the show, not just the voice actors.
Yeah,
correct. What was it? Do you guys remember Deadpool, the opening of Deadpool, and it's like, kind of the fake opening, directed by some asshole, written by the real heroes here?
Yeah.
Well, with Venture Brothers, we don't have that problem because the voice cast, by and large, is are the writers. So it's like they're getting all the credit right away.
Making a cartoon. Like, I think that's how they described it. At least when they had the Astro Base, it was.
And you mentioned Venture Brothers, and the people working on it are the writers. Talking about the Rick and Morty panel earlier, and Roiland not being there. Roiland's not a main writer. Roiland is the main writer.
See, I didn't know that until Regis posted that on Twitch, that he quit as showrunner, I guess.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
Still, it doesn't mean he can't, the star of the show not being on your big Comic-Con panel, but I guess,
Sure.
I guess,
especially when everyone else was a voice actor except for Dan. Like, they didn't have any of the other production crew on the panel at all. So
that's interesting too. Yeah, where was Ryan Ridley?
Oh, Ridley was
he's out.
Erica Hayes.
Yeah.
Oh,
season
3,
3,
I'm not. I gotta watch season 4.
John, big fan, John.
You telling me Dan Harmon's rubbing people the wrong way at a TV show production? That just doesn't sound like him at all.
It's a shocker. First time it's ever happened.
Oh yeah.
You said it earlier. He just needs to shut up sometimes.
I mean, he just needs to call his buddy Chevy. Yeah, he needs to call his buddy Chevy and talk it out and figure it out and everything.
Here's my Emmy. Was the whole shtick on that panel video? I'm like, oh, okay, that was.
Oh my god. Long.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's like me, continually going back to this.
It's all this.
Yeah, you're totally not proud of that or anything.
No. I haven't been wanting to bring it up, and I'm like, you know what? That's how people are going to remember me now when this Adult Swim Central thing comes back.
We're just going to put that on your tombstone.
Okay. I mean, I'm being cremated, so that's fine.
Yeah, we'll put
that and the label from like a Boylan's root beer.
My cremation sponsored by Boylan's.
Yeah, put you in a root beer bottle.
It's a cream soda Asian.
Oh, God!
Too soon.
Too soon.
Really too soon.
You're actually early.
Yeah, it was lamer than FDR's legs.
So I guess we're done with talking about the Showdown.
This has been an Adult Swim Central production.
ACEN